Okay, so you clicked on this video most likely for a couple of different reasons. The first reason is you got bored of your iOS setup, you don't like the way your current home screen looks like, and you're looking for a change. The second reason, which is more important in my opinion, is you, just like myself, are absolutely getting bodied by social media apps when it comes to grabbing your attention, keeping you distracted, and keeping you off course from your day-to-day tasks and work. With that said, this is what my previous iOS home screen setup used to look like. I've had it for the longest time, but I noticed I was spending way too much time on unnecessary tasks. Notifications will come in from random apps, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment, whether it's social media, whatever the case may be, a bunch of notifications will come in all the time. So I developed a different focus mode for my phone, which was great for a little while. Once I nailed down the different focus modes, I started messing around with icon placement. So then I would keep it very simple, but then as we all know, it's very easy to access other information on your phone if you need. I thought to myself, why don't I do a flip phone? That's a great idea. When you want to accomplish certain things on a personal level, such as keeping yourself less distracted and getting your attention span back, whatever that might look like, you have to realize a couple of things. Extremes are not your friend. You can't scrap your iPhone, scrap your Samsung, and transfer over to a flip phone and think that that's going to solve your issue. Because what happens is, with the flip phone, yes, you can make phone calls. Yes, you can text, I guess. And it has somewhat of a camera that you can use. But at the end of the day, every single one of us will want some sort of access to either a web browser, an entertainment platform, or a social media platform. This is what keeps us connected with others, our friends, people from work, and our family. So a flip phone is out of the question. There's a few alternatives out there similar to the Nothing phone, which I think it kind of solves the problem that we're trying to address here. However, it's not a 100% fix. What I've come up with is a way to go back and forth between what I like to call a dumb phone and our regular smartphone, so your regular iPhone setup. I've made it so that it's easy for us to go back and forth, because at the end of the day, we should all have our own free will to decide whether or not we want to be in a focus mode or in a regular iOS setup. That being said, first I'll go over some of the features that I have currently set up on my iPhone and what my dumb phone setup looks like right now. Like I said, this is my day-to-day regular setup. For an uninterrupted workflow, you just swipe down, focus, and I can select personal, which blocks all of my notifications, or you can completely disable everything by clicking do not disturb. These are some of Apple's standard setups. They're not complicated, they're not difficult at all to set up, they're just in your settings. When it comes to actually accessing the dumb phone feature, would swipe up on the widget, click on dumb phone, and then what happens is you enter the dumb phone settings. So you can see here I have just a few apps listed. So my phone, my messages, my calculator, and my settings. This is the most boring setup I can possibly think of to help keep myself focused and distraction free. If I were to swipe to the side, it just gives me the time and the date and nothing else. And the best part is you still have access to your full app library. However, there is a way to actually block all or most of these apps, and we'll get into that in a bit. But this is what my current dumb phone setup looks like. I found that this is a healthy balance between being able to use your phone for social media, staying connected, and completely disconnecting whenever you need to. Some widgets on the side here: weather, batteries for my phone, my Apple Watch, AirPods, etc., and a quick Google search widget. So now that we can see what the dumb phone app can do to a 16 Pro Max, let's have a look at this 13 Pro and transform it into a dumb phone. As you can see, this one is quite disorganized with a lot of apps and a lot of notifications, a lot of things everywhere, and if you ask me, it's pretty hard to find what you're looking for, even if you know where it is. And to clarify, I've gone through multiple different apps, multiple different setups in order to actually accomplish the dumb phone setup, and I found that this app, literally called Dumb Phone, was the best option out there. The first thing you're going to want to do is head over to the App Store, type in dumb phone, and this is what the app looks like. You can go ahead and download that. Now, to get started, open up dumb phone, and this is what your layout looks like on an immediate basis. You can change this, customize this the way that you like. I'll go ahead and customize some of the features that I prefer for myself, starting with the apps that we actually have. So again, we're gonna keep some of the basics. In this case, we're gonna do photos, messages, settings, and phone. Once we have established the apps that we would like to use, in this case, phone, messages, settings, photos, and Safari, we can go ahead and actually customize the layout a little bit. What that would look like is choosing a different color background, light gray, black, beige, green, etc. The color that I personally like a lot is this one right over here. There's a wallpaper associated with it as well, so minimal dark or minimal light, which we can download in just a second. However, the easiest way to actually set up a theme is to literally use one of the preset themes that's already available over here. In this case, what we'll go ahead and do is select the dark theme. This will automatically change the home screen, the widgets, the app icons, and the wallpaper. So we're gonna apply theme. With that being said, you can choose what you want your date and time to look like. So in this case, I'd like to center them up and down. The way you can lay out the time. From here, we can choose the layout of the actual apps. Again, centered. You can choose the distance between them. I like to keep them a little bit tighter like that. Text, this is just the setting of the actual font. There's one really cool one in here. Actually, it was this one right here that I actually really liked. But for the purpose of this video, to keep it sleek, let's go ahead with this. I like to increase the size to around 60. And I like to capitalize the text as well. This is where I said that we can choose how many apps we'd like to display. 6 is a good amount. However, if we are really trying to turn this into a true dumb phone, I'd recommend going ahead with 4 apps. And these are literally the, I would say, essential list of apps that you should have on your phone. Dumb phone themselves does have a setup guide which you can follow. It shows you how to add the widget, the wallpaper, enable dark mode, and so forth. But that's why you're here. We're gonna get into this right now. At the end of this video, we'll also get into how to block certain applications so you can't access them. Again, giving you that true dumb phone feel, borderline flip phone at this rate. So the next thing we're gonna wanna do is have a dedicated page for the dumb phone. The way you can go ahead and do that is by holding the home screen, swipe over, and then you can add a widget here. So in this case, we'll add the dumb phone page 1. There's other pages and there's other widgets that you can add as well. However, to keep this tight, we're gonna be adding the dumb phone widget. I know it doesn't look good. We're gonna leave it like this for now, and we'll get into actually customizing and making this look good. To get started with actually putting all of this together, the first thing we're going to want to do is set up the focus mode for dumb phone. You're gonna go into settings. I'm gonna type in focus. And these are the current focus setups for this particular phone. What we'll do is set up a new one and we'll call it custom. Let's give it a name and we'll call this, let's call it focus mode. You can pick the color, you can pick the icon. Let's say we'll pick this icon right over here. Click next. I'll give you a list of how you can customize the actual focus mode. The first thing we're going to go ahead and set up here is the wallpapers. So now it's time to choose a home screen page. Again, we want to ignore the previous ones. We'll select the new one we just created and another one here that has a time widget. You'll see how this comes in handy soon. Now, when it comes to silencing notifications, this is completely up to you, and you can add particular apps that you might want to silence, such as social media and so forth. In this case, I'll leave this blank. This is something that you can customize based on your own choosing. Now we have the home screen set up. Let's set up the wallpaper as well. We'll go into gallery, and previously we had already downloaded the dark wallpaper from dumb phone. And this is what that wallpaper looks like. You can add widgets, the time, the date, and you can even customize the quick settings as well. Again, we'll leave this blank because everybody will have their own preference on what they want to see here. Set the wallpaper as a pair just to keep it consistent. And now this is how we've actually set up our focus mode. Now, what would happen is when you exit, this is the regular setup. If you wanted to enter into focus mode, you'll see how everything will automatically switch over, and you'll only see the two widgets that we added earlier. This is great. However, there's a few things that are not quite sitting right that we need to change. The first thing is hold the home screen, go into customize. What we'll do is make the icons large. This is how we get rid of the text underneath the widgets. And you can choose if you want it to follow an automatic dark or light mode. You can also tint it. And now you can see that both of our widgets don't have any text underneath. You might be asking, okay, well, I don't want this to be at the top. I want it to be in the middle. You can do that very easily. Go ahead and add another widget. Swipe all over here and you'll see that there's a spacer widget. And this will come in handy a little bit later as well. Click on done. The other thing we want to do is remove all of the apps down here. Another way to make things blend in nicer is you can hold on to the home screen. This will give you your other layouts. You want to customize for the home screen. Usually blur is turned on, but what you want to do here is turn off blur in order to give it that seamless look. And now you can see how the widgets are seamlessly integrated. There's no shadow or anything along those lines. What I like to do to fill this space up and not keep it empty, you can if you like, is you can add the dumb phone app and keep it down there just for quick access. Now, this is great. We have it set up. We can easily go back and forth between focus mode and our regular desktop, which looks like this. However, there's a few different things that we would like to change. From here, what you would like to do is actually set up a automation to do all of this for you and keep it in a more organized way. So the first thing we'd like to do is add a widget to our home screen here. I like to add a smart stack because you can actually rotate between multiple different apps, and this will come in handy to keep everything sleek. So let's go ahead and edit this smart stack here. We can go ahead and remove anything that we see as unnecessary. In this case, we'll only leave two different stacks. So the first one will be our regular calendar, which will live on our home screen. And the other smart stack that we'll leave on is the shortcuts. This is perfect. We'll add it in there. And one thing you want to turn off to keep it consistent is the smart rotate. So that's off, and turn off suggestions. Great. Now our previously cluttered home screen looks like this. Pretend that this is your regular personal focus mode. You can add this wherever you like. You can make it smaller. I like to keep it across the full screen just because it looks nicer. However, what we ideally want to do is be able to swipe up, click one of the focus modes, and easily access our dumb phone. So let's set that up right now. We're going to shortcuts. You're going to want to type in focus, set focus, and currently it says turn do not disturb off. We're going to change this a little bit. Rather than turning do not disturb off, we want to click on toggle, and we want to toggle focus mode. Click done. And now we have it over here. You can rename this shortcut as focus mode. Select and delete. Let's see if we can change the color of focus mode as well. We can get a different icon, which is pretty cool, but let's say for focus mode, we want to keep it gray and consistent. We can pick one of these. icons. There's a bunch of different icon packs out there that you can download. Some are free, some are paid. That's up to you to choose, but we'll just keep it simple and use the built-in icons for now. Great, next thing, in order to have a more productive layout, we'll go into Shortcut, edit shortcuts, and then you can choose which shortcut you actually want to show up in that smart stack. So we'll choose that we want our focus mode shortcut, and the other ones, again, we're leaving it blank for now. However, you're free to add whichever shortcut you want. Perfect. This allows us to have our regular home screen with all the apps that we use every single day, and very easily rotate the smart stack and access focus mode, which completely turns off all distractions. It turns off notifications. It gets rid of pretty much all of our apps, and it allows us to only access our essentials. In this case, phone, messages, settings, and photos. Again, you can customize this as you want. There's a lot of apps out there that allow you to block different apps and put time limits and so forth. None of them actually work in a clean and efficient manner. This is what I have found works the best for me. You can go into dumb phone, and what we can do is set up a detox mode. Click on detox, set up detox mode. What we want to do is either block all apps or select apps that you'd be interested in blocking. Again, this is your personal choice. You decide which apps are important, which ones are distracting you, or if all of them have to go. In my case, let's block selected apps. You can either go ahead and block individual apps, or you can actually block categories. So to make this a lot easier for ourselves, we'll go ahead and right off the bat, we're gonna block everything that has to do with social, games, entertainment, and shopping and food. When it comes to social, one app in particular you have to keep in mind for is the messages app gets thrown in with the rest of the social apps. We're going to unselect that one. Now what we have is detox mode set up, and it's very easy to go ahead and start it. You just click on start detox. What this effectively does is it puts a lock on all of those apps we wanted to use earlier. So yes, we don't see them here. On our second page, we have this widget which shows us a time. Again, you can add calendars, you can make it a smart stack. It's completely up to you. When you swipe over, you can still see the rest of your apps. There's no way to actually get rid of this. However, if I wanted to use something like, let's say, TikTok, can't access. If I wanted to use Instagram, can't touch it. WeChat, also not able to access that app at this very moment. However, I can still access my Gmail, my Outlook, I can access Teams, all sorts of applications are still available for us to use. I know I said we'll have a very convenient way of switching back and forth between the different modes. What I like to do is convert this widget over here to a smart widget. Add a widget. Again, it's going to be a smart stack. We'll go into the smart stack and edit it. For the purpose of this video, I'll set it up to the way I have it set up on my other phone, which is just my calendar and my focus modes. Turn off smart rotate and turn off widget suggestions. Again, we need to go back in here and customize the shortcuts stack and click custom, click on focus mode. For the smart stack, I forgot to add one stack in here, which is actually the most important one. Instead of calendar to keep us distracted, what we can actually do is add the dumb phone date and time widget. So this works out even better. We'll go ahead and we can actually delete this one right here. Perfect. So now our home screen is super simple, only the essentials. Swipe over, you can see the date and the time. If you ever need to go back to the old version of your phone, you swipe up and you disable focus mode, bringing us back to the regular setup that we previously had. And with that, we're gonna wrap up today's video. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment. The download link to Dumb Phone is in the description below, so have a look at it there. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I'll see you in the next video.